called Cleveland Brown. He's the man around town.
Hello. Man, why are you calling me? Oh, no.
Yeah, it's ETEP.
No, I'm not doing it.
It's
I'm not,
time
I told you
to
last time,
do the...
Halloween Kills
I know you're
almost
busy.
killed
I know.
me.
It's not
Before
like you have a
that,
show anymore, dude.
Halloween
Let's be honest.
with goddamn
But
David
seriously,
Gordon Green.
we've got to do this Halloween Ends review. And I know by me saying we, it's you that has to do this review, but I'm going to need you to take one for the team one more time, bud.
I'll do the review.
No, I don't care about that.
Before God, if more people don't go watch your Avenging Force,
I don't want to hear any excuses. You know what you have to do. No, they all can't be Avenging Force reviews. I know. People should really go back and watch the Avenging Force review you did, because it's the only review we've ever done that you haven't shit on.
Remember that last time you had me do? Remember?
They should probably go watch it.
Nobody watched.
It's in a playlist called
Was it
Movie Reviews.
Invisible Man? You had me review that and nobody goddamn watched it.
It's all you, man. Look, I'm not paying you hazard
Halloween
pay for mental anguish. It's not how this works. You know what? I'm not even going to get into it right now because I'm going to save it for the review because I have so much rage built up inside me I could probably punch through a brick wall right now. But for those of you who are still watching, ladies and gentlemen, here's my review of the 2022 dumpster fire steaming pile of shit, Halloween Ends.
Dun 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 dun. I'm Cleveland, I'm humming this song now. Wow, this movie really sucked ass. I hate every minute of it. Now, it really goddamn was terrible. Dun, 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 dun. So just to catch you up to speed here, our movie starts with the events of Halloween 2019. Not the movie, that wasn't the movie, that was 2018. No, in-universe 2019. And we meet Corey Cunningham, who will be babysitting for a couple he usually does lawn mowing for, but the normal sitter called off and he's up to bat. The parents are going to a Halloween party, because of course they are. After the events of Evil Dies Tonight! And the fact that Michael Myers has just up and disappeared after killing so many people again, these dumbass white people just think it's fine to go about your business like this motherfucker hasn't just popped up every year and slaughtered a bunch of people since 1970. But wait, I'm forgetting our wonderful team of writers and director David Gordon Green, who I still hate more than Glenn Quagmire, who slept with my potato-shaped ex-wife, sorry, Donna Loretta. It was their brilliant idea to ignore every movie outside the original Halloween and turn a poorly conceived continuation into a trilogy with the mental midget smoothbrains at Blumhouse. Oh, if you're wondering what happens, this whole fucking opening sequence is to establish that Corey Cunningham, our B-team babysitter, kills the kiddies' babysitter on accident by knocking him over a banister rail after the little cocksucker locked him in a fucking attic. If I wasn't such a pious man, I'd be so bold as to say that little shit got what he deserved. I'm going to spare you the play-by-play analysis of this horrible cinematic monster that spends the majority of its time, 1 hour and 55 minutes to be exact, attempting to be something that it's not. A quality horror movie. But we will go through some of the story, and note that I'm using air quotes as I say story. Also keep in mind this is full spoilers because I give zero fucks about ruining this movie because I don't want you to suffer the same fate that I did and stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning staring into the shit abyss due to the fact that you've got no idea how they made a more incoherent movie than Halloween 6, other than the fact that gave us that delightful white man Paul Rudd. So after 7 minutes and 35 seconds, but who's counting, we've established the fact that Corey Cunningham is going to be integral to what should be a coherent plot. had this movie not been written by Brad Paul Logan, who has 3 writing credits and looks like Orville Redenbacher and Paul Feig had a baby and they accidentally kept the afterbirth. What he cobbled together would make Uwe Boll and Ryan Johnson vomit out their asses simultaneously, wherever they are, respectively, in the world. Why I chose those 2 names, I'll never know. But I know this. That small yarn I just spun for you is more entertaining than anything in this movie, and I guarantee it. Evil dies tonight! Unless you're Amber Heard, you're not going to be excited by what I say next, because we have a 3-minute exposition dump. Yes, I just made an Amber Heard joke with the word dump, for anyone who's new here, narrated by Laurie, of course, and the events span from the original masterpiece constructed with love and care by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. But then the story shifts into the new David Gordon Green and those fucking morons at Blumhouse. And we're here in what we can only be referred to for the remainder of this review as the Schmeichel Schmeyers verse. Again, this paragraph is more interesting than anything that's taken place in this movie thus far.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Laurie and Allison, remember Allison, Curran's daughter? Well, now that Curran went to complain to the big manager in the sky, Laurie and Allison live together. And Allison has become a nurse, because of course she did. I'll spare you the time and tell you that Allison works at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. Yes, that Haddonfield Memorial Hospital.
Oh, I remember.
She gets passed over for a promotion by the doctor, who opts to promote her hotter and much sluttier co-worker, whom he's fucking. Imagine my shock to see a nurse act like a hooer and bang a doctor to get a promotion. Or at least it was a man doctor and a lady nurse and not some... Anyway, these 2 morons are going to end up dead soon. For the record, I laughed when they both died. A big part of this movie is Laurie trying to be normal, which is a direct contradiction to her character arc in the last 2 movies, which saw her as the survivalist badass girl boss. We're talking about Laurie Strode, whose entire existence was predicated upon the premise her guard was up 24/7. And she was ready for every possible scenario in which she may encounter Michael Myers. In this movie, she lives in a quaint suburban Haddonfield with no arsenal like we saw her with in the last 2 movies, but she's trying to bake pies and shit. Corey gets bullied by some high school kids, and they're not even jocks, they're fucking band kids. First, they knock him around like a little bitch after he doesn't want to buy him burr, and he gets mad and all in his feelings and crushes a bottle of Yoo-Hoo in his hand and gets milk all over one of them named Terry. And this is after he refused to buy them beer, so Laurie comes in and saves him, and the kids of course make fun of him and Laurie, and she bails him out of trouble. So this establishes the connection between these 2 characters. And throughout the movie, Laurie will grow increasingly worry of Corey's motivations and his character, and we'll talk about one scene in particular in the end of the movie, which is so vile and offensive, it almost made me throw something at my fucking TV. At this point, to expedite the process a little bit, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. And no, I'm not talking about Lizzo. Badasses! I'm talking about the fact that Corey basically acts as fake Michael Myers in this movie for a bit. Then, get this, y'all. This motherfucker teams up with Myers after they share a tender, loving touch in the sewer drains that Myers been living in for 4 years. How'd Corey end up in there? Well, the band kids throw him over a fucking bridge after he and Laurie slash their tires. And he's a complete pussy. So he again gets victimized by high school kids, and this motherfucker is like 23. So Myers pulls him into the drain, and they touch.
You got the touch. You got the power.
And it's like Myers sees mentally what Corey had went through. And Corey got some kind of Myers shock, and which is weird and stupid, but in kind of reminiscent of Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell, which I hate, even though I love that franchise. I wish I was making this shit up, but I'm not. Just for further context, Laurie has set up Allison with Corey after she took him to the hospital with a cut on his hand. So at this point, they're dating.
Evil dies tonight!
Corey and Allison are out to dinner and they run into her ex-boyfriend who's a Haddonfield police officer, and he tries to hit on her. But Corey's like, nah fam, cause I got...
You got the touch. You got the power.
And he gets up in the guy's face and the ex backs down.
Yes! You're the man now, dog.
So Corey later lures him into the drain and allows Michael to stab him to death. And as Michael kills the few people he does throughout this whopping 11 minutes of actual screen time, it's like Popeye eating his fucking spinach. But before he can go all Super Saiyan Myers and get back into form, Corey beats him up and takes his mask, because that's a thing a physically weak 23-year-old could do, especially given he's been repeatedly shown to be able to be bested by lesser opponents previously, like the fucking band kids. But logic be damned, Corey grew some balls and is ready to lay waste to anyone who's crossed him or tries to stand between him and Allison.
You got the touch. You got the power.
So here's the rest of the rundown for the kills in this trash. Corey's lured Allison's mustachioed former beau into the sewer pipe.
What are you, gay?
Then Corey Janetti and his tag team partner, Shawn Michael Myers, get the shine, and Myers stabs the beau while Corey holds him tenderly. If you're wondering why I'm not going through the whole story right now, it's because it doesn't fucking matter, and they all tie it up with a bow at the end. Right now we're going through the kills, slapnuts.
It's Mr. Flatnut to you.
Then it's off to Dr. McBang the nurse's house, and we're treated to Corey stabbing Dr. McHorny to death while suffocating him with a bag, as well as being cheated out of seeing any semblance of gratuitous nudity from the hot nurse in this scene before she's pinned to the wall with a knife like we've seen Myers do in the original to Bob.
Oh, I remember.
Next up, the four band bullies chase Corey to his stepdad Ronald's junkyard because he keyed the word psycho into his car. First up is Billy, who Corey stabs right in the eye with a kitchen knife, killing his side-shaved mullet ass. Teach you to carry around drumsticks like you're something fucking cool, you punk-ass bitch. Next, he runs Margot over with his stepdad's tow truck, and when Terry goes to get Ronald from the office to help, Corey kills Stacy with a pipe wrench. Then Terry shoots Ronald in the head on accident when he sees Corey standing behind him, and Ronald tries to tell him no, don't shoot. Corey smashes Terry's head with a rifle. Then Terry eats a flame flowing from a cutting torch, and Margot gets her head stomped in. Corey then goes home to his house, gets a butcher knife, and stabs his annoying ass mother to death. They should have had her nag him the whole time while he was doing it, saying he was going to ruin the carpet. Our 5'7" surrogate Michael Myers decides to pay the local radio station a visit after he kills the hot blonde receptionist. He beats the DJ to death and cuts off his tongue with a pair of scissors. Again, mind you, there's no real transfer of power between Myers and Corey. Yet Corey is all of a sudden capable of these murders that literally require overwhelming feats of physical strength to carry out. And here we are, with him carrying them out, with no real powers. What the actual fuck?
You got the touch. You got the power.
We're at the end of Corey's journey next as he goes to Laura's house and thinks he witnessed her calling 911 to report her own suicide. Then she shoots a pumpkin instead of herself, and then shoots him and says, "Did you think I was dumb enough to kill myself?" He falls over the railing, she verbally berates him, and he kills himself knowing Allison is on her way, but does it in a manner in which to frame Laurie. Allison thinks Laurie did it because she walks in and of course Laurie's holding a bloody knife over the dead body. The whole time Allison has been banging this guy and she has no idea he was a psycho, probably because the dick was so good. Allison runs out and Laurie's crying when Michael comes in to finish off his effeminate apprentice and retrieves his mask. Then it's off to the kitchen for some Laurie, of course, gets the drop on him as he's distracted by the microwave and some pescetti. And they fight through the kitchen, and all of a sudden Laurie, who to her credit takes a fucking beating and gets stabbed again ends up pinning Mikey's hand to the counter with a knife. Eventually, he's completely pinned to the counter with knives and the refrigerator that she easily tips over on his legs. She then stabs him in the ribs, removes his mask, slits his throat, and he doesn't die. But then Allison comes in and breaks his arm when he starts choking Laurie, and Laurie slits his wrist, and then he's finally dead. That's it. They might as well have run him over with a bus in the finish to that match. Of course, Haddonfield's finest show up after Myers is dead, so Laurie and Allison tie Myers to the roof of the car, and we're off on our first annual Haddonfield Halloween parade. The procession is literally the entire town, in on cars and on foot to the junkyard. Then they remove Myers from the roof of the car, and in a Spider-Man-esque scene, they crowd surf his body to Laurie, and instead of saving him because he's a hero, she pushes him into the machine that is meant to shred metal, and we see his body destroyed in befittingly brutal. Allison admits to Laurie she was correct about Corey, and Laurie is free to finish her book, and Allison moves away from Haddonfield. We're left with Will Patton's character, who throughout the movie has shown interest in Laurie, and she appears to finally be ready to reciprocate his affections. So, one of our favorite final girls, Laurie Strode, finally has a happy ending, and still has Michael Myers' mask in her office. I swear, if they make another fucking sequel... Oh, yeah, then Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult plays as the end credits roll. Just like when they played that song in the first movie.
Oh, I remember.
I hated this goddamn movie as much as I hated the previous 2 installments of this stupid franchise's offshoot David Gordon Greenverse timeline with Danny McBride and his mullet and the effeminate writer Paul Logan Brandon or whatever his name is. I hate Activia Yogurt. Mostly, I hate you, Corey Cunningham. Damn midget Michael Myers wannabe took up most of the screen time and is a far inferior replacement killer than we've seen in other movies that attempt this trope. Especially given Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning did it with Roy the ambulance driver in a much more effective, albeit different manner. The writing was terrible. The characters were a shadow of what they were in the previous 2 installments of this ill-advised trilogy that was made into a mockery by the trash at Blumhouse, whose speciality is being as garbage tier as Asylum in the horror genre. And they're also partially held to blame for Black Christmas 2019, which gave me an ulcer. Why, in the go-home movie of a trilogy, they decide to put Myers on screen for 11 minutes, and then focus on the character Corey, who in another movie could have been quite a compelling story, to be honest, of a man pushed to the brink and forced to commit horrendous acts of violence as he lashes out against those who abused him. But that's not what we got here. We got a shadow of what could have been. If it was written and directed by competent creatives and not complete morons who haven't had a clue on how to construct a coherent movie, let alone a trilogy steeped in mythos they abandoned to focus on new characters that nobody cares about and will likely never see again. I can't even score this movie on a 5 or 10 scale. It's far too stupid to even waste my time thinking and making a new graphic for it. So we'll say verbally that this movie is a -5 overall. My thoughts on this are as follows. I never want to see another Halloween installment if it's going to follow the law, or at least attempt to be a part of this franchise and what they've built in erasing all the canon past the original movie. Because these last 3 movies have been the worst Halloween movies I've ever seen, including not Rob Zombie's. Those, I will never review those. I can even say unequivocally, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, was much better than this. At least that one gave us Paul Rudd. Anyway, that's what I got for you. Now get the hell out of here, you crackers. No, I'm just playing. Bye!
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
I could do this all